to stay until I got to like Carson City. That would have been like 100 miles or something. So it was way too much. And it's like, it's now it's the Sierras. Mm-hmm. So it's really big mountains. Mm-hmm. So I ride to Pollock Pines from Placerville, and my saddle sores are really killing me. It's only 10 miles, but a lot of it's uphill, really steep, hard hills, and they're killing me. So that night I get there and I'm like, I should really try, maybe I need a new saddle. And I look in the phone books and I find out the only bicycle shop is in the place I just left, 10 miles behind me. And the next one is in Carson City, 70 miles in front of me over the mountains. So I spend hours like at the CVS trying to figure out how I can pad my seat. And, can I put a sponge in there? Can I do this? And buying antiseptic stuff and bandages from my butt and all this other stuff, And I wound up buying some of those things to that you put under crutches for your armpits, but they're made out of sheep's wool, so they're really soft or whatever. And I cut them and shaped them and stitched them together so that they fit over my saddle, so I can ride 70 miles the next day up the mountains, because now it's like 5,000 feet of climbing. So I managed that, and the saddle sores are really bad, but I get to the next place, and I'm okay, and what happens here? I can't remember. This is just a crazy story. This is my first trip. So, saddle sores, okay? I get past the saddle sores and stupidly don't have a bike shop. I go to the bike shop in Carson City. In Carson City, I get to Carson City, and I find out, as I'm driving in, I find out there's a Harley-Davidson motorcycle rider rally, but not in Carson City, but like in Reno, which isn't that far from Carson City. So a lot of people stop in Carson City. Yeah. So I get to Carson City, and there's like no place to stay. But luckily, I think I find a room. No, sorry. Just as they're giving me a room, they find out that somebody else has gotten a room in front of me. It's like at a big casino. Last room in the place, sorry. I go across the street, so they give me a room. Next day, I buy a saddle, and I ride out of town, and I get off the main road because I'm tired of the noise. And as I'm getting back to the main road, like 20 miles away from town, I realize that my bike's making a funny noise. And I look back, and the cassette has come loose, because stupid me, I did my own mechanic work, and I forgot to tighten it up again after I had installed it a few weeks before, changing the chain on the cassette, which is a good thing to do before a long trip. And so now all the cogs are just wobbling back and forth and ready to slide out. So I can hand tighten it slightly, but I have stupidly left the tool that's required to fix this at home, because it weighs 1.5 ounces, which is too much. So I didn't bring it. So some guy rescues me. And he says, I'll help you out. He drives up in his car, and I'm like, well, you can't, because I don't have the tool. And he's like, well, I got these tools. No, they don't work, And he drives off. And then I drive down the road looking for a bike shop still. And the next one is in Fallon, which is where I'm going, but it's like 50 miles ahead. I ain't going to make it. It's going to drive me crazy. So I stop at a liquor store. The guy comes back, and in his car, he turned around. He'd headed back to Carson City, but he turned around feeling bad that he left me behind. Sees my bike out front of this liquor store, and he comes in and he goes, well, I'll give you a ride back so you can go to the bike store and they can fix your wheel. So he gives me the ride back, and then since we couldn't fit my bike in his car, he has to ride me back all the way out to where I was, another 20 miles back the other way. So he does that. Thinking, well, this is really nice. This guy gives me all his help, and I've got saddle sores, but I don't feel so bad now, And then I have to race into to Fallon, Nevada, because, of course, it's almost sunset, and I don't like riding at night, and I don't have much in the way of lights. So I get there, and I decide to spend an extra day. So now I recuperate. I have a hot tub that I can, soak for a while, get my butt back to normal. And now I head across the deserts. And every day I look at the report, the forecast, and it's like, possibility of snow at the passes. When you go across Nevada, you go from like 4,500 feet or so, maybe 5,000 feet, up to 6,000 or 7,000 or 8,000 feet. and then you drop down into a big valley, and then you go up over another pass, and you drop down the big valley, and it's about 50 miles or so between each town, and sometimes there's 2 or 3 passes, and sometimes there's 1 or whatever. So I get like a whole week of this. Every day it's possibility of snow at the pass. And I'm going, yeah. There's never snow at the pass. But man, it's cold in the morning. And it's really tricky to ride up the hill without getting too sweaty. So you take your clothes off as you go up the hill. Then you get to the top and you put them all back on again to go down the hill. But I get to Utah now. And now I'm in Cedar City. And I'm at 6,000 feet. Or maybe it's 6,500, or maybe it's even 7,000 feet. And I see the forecast, possibility of snow at the pass. Yeah, who cares, Next day, because I'm riding now to Panguitch, which is over the mountains. It's over Cedar Breaks. It's past Zion Park. It's a big monster hill. And I don't even think about it as being different than everything I've done all week before, because I haven't seen any snow. I haven't frozen to death, whatever. Well, I didn't think. It's starting at 6,000 or 7,000 feet, and it's climbing to 10,500, which is a little different than climbing to 7,000 feet or 7,500 feet. So as I go up the hill, and up the hill, and up the hill, it's an 8-mile climb up the hill. It's 4,000 or 5,000 feet of up. Or maybe it's 4,000 feet, I can't remember exactly. It's getting colder and colder, and grayer, and I passed this place where they've cut the road, with dynamite stuff, and one side, the north side of the thing, is completely covered with ice. And I'm like, I guess it does get cold up here because it's ice. And then I go, and another 3 miles up the hill, it starts raining. Well, then the rain kind of turns into snow. And then I put on my rain jacket, and it's like, well, this is a little cold because I don't really have winter gear with me. But I'll just put on my vest. I'll put on this. I'll put on that. And then the snow stops. I'm like, cool. And I get to 9,500 feet. And now, it stops snowing for a while. But at 9,000 feet, it starts snowing again, lightly. I get to 9,500 feet. It's still snowing. And now I'm basically like 8 miles out of town, 30 miles away from where I'm supposed to be. It's another 1,500 feet up, and I could just turn around and go all the way back and do it all over again the next day, or I could try to go over in the snow. So I ride over in the snow, figuring there's supposed to be a place where you can, warming huts for skiers and stuff, not thinking that they're not open yet. So I ride my bike up to Cedar Breaks. The park is not a national park yet, it's just a national monument. The snow camp, or the snow places, are closed because it's not winter. There's nowhere to warm up. There's nothing open in the place because it's just a national monument. They're not, there's nowhere to even go to the bathroom. And it's snowing, and it's snowing, and I'm on my bike with my skinny little tires. It's 1-inch deep snow, and it's 30, 25 degrees out. So, and I'm getting wet. So I decide to go down the hill to Panguitch. And as I'm going down the hill, I just start shivering like you can't believe.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, so I realize I'm hypothermic. I stop, and I'm like, okay, what did I learn about being hypothermic? Okay, if you eat some food, that tends to burn energy, so that'll warm you up. So eat everything you've got that you can get at. And my hands are freezing because I don't have long-fingered gloves. So, I'll take the little baggies that I have, and I will put them on my hands, because that'll keep the wind from blowing on my fingers at least. And when I go down the hill, I can still work the brakes, and that'll help a little. And I'll stand here for a while with my hands under my armpits, or in my armpits, by, opening my shirt up and doing this and that and other things. And then I'll take out all the clothes that I can put on over my bike clothes and put them all on. So I did all this stuff so that I wouldn't freeze to death.
Oh,
and then I rode down the hill as it got warmer and started to melt and turned into kind of drippy rain, and then eventually stopped. But it was still like 35 degrees, 40 degrees, 50 degrees eventually, maybe 45 at the most. But that, I almost froze to death because I kept, I'd started out in the heat and was worn out, and just, you think about heat in the mountains and all good. And then I get to these places for a whole week, snow in the pass, and there never is. And then I get there, and sure enough, there is. This time I'm not ready for it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I survived, and the next morning I bought that black jacket that I still have today. And I didn't use it once again on the whole trip because it wasn't needed anymore. Never got cold again. But still, when I got to Larry and Abigail's house in Colorado, I decided winter was too close and I wasn't going to go on. Kansas would have been very dangerous, I would think. So there you have it. My favorite story. It's kind of long, but you go from burning hot, like dying 100-something degree weather to freezing in the pass to ignoring the warnings because the snow never came to like almost freezing to death. And that was my first ride, the first tour. And the next year I absolutely had to do it over again. And Mom was like, why don't you just start in Colorado? I'm like, no, I'm doing it all from the beginning.
Why?
I don't know. It seemed like cheating to go to Colorado first. And it seemed, I don't know. And it was so pretty. I mean, I had a good time in Nevada once I got past the saddle sores. And in Utah, after almost freezing to death, I went to Bryce National Park. And it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I love that place. And then I rode my bike all the way through Grand Staircase and through, what the heck's the name of it? The next national park there that's on the highway. Capitol Reef. That's what it was. And it's just gorgeous. I mean, the highway goes through the park, and you just ride along the side and you just see all this really cool rock formations. And you can stop and take pictures wherever you want. And walk in and see the hieroglyphs in a couple of places where the Indians made them. And there's places to go on hikes that I didn't do because it would have been too far that day. But so I liked it so much, And then I got to Colorado, and there's even more cool stuff. And I just had to see. And of course, if I had started the next time in Colorado, I probably would have been really annoyed when I got to Kansas. I probably would have said, why on earth did I do this? Kansas sucks. Kansas is like, ugh. So it's a good thing I started over again.
Do you think of bike riding as like a break, or is it, because you keep saying you have to like think about all these things as you're riding?
Well, I like, on a tour, I really like the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see it as, bothersome because, I get to play nerd. I make spreadsheets. I mean, the first time I made a spreadsheet that was like 400 items long, it was, here's all the things I could take and how much they all weigh. And I would just weed through the list to see how I can get the list down to the smallest amount of weight with the most numbers of things that I needed, So I got to do that. And then I made a spreadsheet for training, so I could keep, add to the amount of riding I did each week without overdoing it, and then actually see that, okay, I'm actually capable of riding, 60 miles a day for 5 or 6 days in a row, so the trip probably won't kill me, and, so it gives you the confidence and so forth. And then as far as paying attention when you're riding, some of it's just second nature. You get used to hearing cars coming up. You get used to what the road you're on looks like and what you're likely to run into. And a lot of the roads are a lot better than the ones out here. So on the tours, I didn't always worry about it too much. And then there's all the distraction of the scenery. I mean, just, riding to Larry's house, I rode up to up this hill called, I don't know what the hill's called, but I rode up past Telluride Ski Resort. I stayed in Telluride the second time I went through. And it's a beautiful place. You were at Telluride, you had a horrible experience, but but when I went through, I could see the snow on the sides of the roads, and it wasn't where I was, and it was nice, and it was the scenery and the whole ride up to Telluride. You're down it, so you see the river all the time as you're going up. It's really kind of pretty, and the leaves were changing at the time. They're all turning bright yellow.
You keep freezing.
It's just alpine glory.
You keep freezing, Dad.
We're freezing?
Yes.
Who's freezing? Your voice is freezing. Oh.
The voice and the.
Oh. Well, you get enough yet? You got more questions?
Um,
Tired?
I guess. Do
You're
you?
yawning.
I'm always tired. Do you feel like connected to the world and the people when you're on your bike?
Oh, way more than when you're in a car. And in some ways more than when I'm walking, too. It's just, maybe because I'm not as, if I'm cruising along, I'm not as tired, you know.
Hold on.
I feel the connection between towns.
You froze again.
I froze.
Okay, you're back.
Yeah, you're not in a car or in a bus or on a train, you know. And on a train you can talk to other people. In a bus, people usually don't. It's kind of noisy. But when you're on your bike, you know, you stop at the corner, and if there's somebody there and they see you with your touring stuff, they're usually curious and they want to talk to you, so they say something and you say something. Or you're going into a restaurant you've never been in before, so you've got questions about, you know, what they have and where I could go do this or that, or is there good scenery around for me to see and so forth. Definitely feel connected to the earth. Riding through the desert was an amazing experience. I mean, it's just a beautiful place, and it just goes on and on and on. I mean, you know, if you were to walk out into it, you'd probably die because it's too far between towns. But if you're on your bike and you've got water and food with you, it's not that far between towns. I mean, it's far enough, and you could still die. But you know, it's not like, you know, it's not a for certain you're going to die. So, you know, it is pretty darn amazing. The first time I went through it, I think when we had the heat wave in California, and maybe it was the second. It may have been the second time. There had been a lot of rains, and the desert was just blooming everywhere. It drove my allergies nuts, which was kind of rough on me. But it was really cool because it wasn't just like, you know, sand. It was all these little flowers all over the place, all different colors, you know, just for miles on end. And it's like, wow, this stuff just, where does stuff come from? This is desert. It's supposed to be like nothing out here, you know. And then when you get to the towns, if they're like 50 miles apart, you really kind of appreciate, you know, the fact that there's restaurants there and there's people to see, and there's, you know, I almost like the cars at that point. Much as I hate cars, that's one thing I always appreciated on the rides was if I were to break down in the middle of the desert somewhere, there was a good chance that within an hour or two there would be a vehicle going by somewhere, and I could probably get them to stop. So I probably wouldn't die or have to spend overnight in the desert, you know, worried about being eaten by reptiles or something. And then there's the helpful people, like the guy who gave me the ride all the way back to Carson City. That was nice, you know. And I don't know, stuff like that. There's some really weird ones. It's like, I don't remember what, I was in some little bitty town. It was like I had to stay in a church. So I stayed in the basement of this church, and I went to the grocery store in town. And so I somehow I was probably in my bike clothes, so of course the lady behind the checkout counter is like, you know, what are you doing? Oh, I'm riding my bike across the country, you know. And she's like, you know, I've never been out of this town.
What?
She's like 30 years old. Like, what? You've never been out? No, I don't think I've ever been more than, you know, like 40 miles away from here, you know. Because, you know, she didn't have the money. No one traveled. It was just, you know, it was weird. It's when it was right after I crossed the Mississippi River. Where the heck was I? Oh well, I'll figure it out one of these days. But it was so strange. I mean, you see that kind of thing, and you're like, wow. So yeah, you feel connected, but you also get to learn. Not everybody has the same life we have.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I have any more questions.
Don't think what?
I don't think
No more
I have
questions?
any more questions.
Can't hear you.
I don't think I do.
Didn't hear what you said. Keeps cutting out. I don't think I do. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, no more questions. Dad will shut up now.
Dad, I have to type this.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
The whole thing?
Yeah.
Why?
It's part of the assignment.
You're kidding. That's
No.
an awful lot of typing. Dad
Yeah.
talks too much. You could leave some section. You should have warned me. I wouldn't have said so much.
A 20-page paper.
You get extra points for more words.
If I tell him, oh yeah, the thing was a lot.